So what I wanted to show is basically this guide. I'm going to follow this guide and explain on the way what's going on. So yeah, since Kuma 2.9, we introduced MeshTLS policy. It's a new policy, and it allows you to do primarily two things. Change the TLS version and TLS ciphers. And it also allows you to change the TLS mode. It can be either permissive or strict. This functionality is not new, like the mode permissive we had previously, but previously we didn't have a way to set this mode on service basis. It was enabled for the entire mesh. And now, yeah, thanks to MeshTLS policy, we can set this for a group of services. And that's what we're gonna see today. So here I have on the right a Kubernetes cluster with a demo, with two demos running at the same time. So this is a marketplace demo. And as you can see, it has 2 out of 2, which means it has sidecar. And so this demo already in the mesh. And we have another demo. And it has 1 out of 1, which means it's not in the mesh yet. That's why if we check control plane, where is the control plane? Here. If we check control plane, we see that mesh TLS is enabled. It's strict because otherwise we would see mode permissive, but by default it's strict. And we see only 4 services because that's how many services we have in marketplace demo. We can also check that the marketplace demo works here. So that's what we have. And what we want to do, we want to take this new demo, that's counter demo, and gradually migrate into the mesh without breaking the traffic. So how are we gonna do this? Well, let's follow the guide. Not from the beginning because I already created these basically. But yeah, and I already deployed counter demo outside of the mesh. So the first thing we need to do is to enable permissive mode, but only inside Kuma demo migration namespace and only for Redis. So let's do that. Let's apply this policy. So before we even move the Redis inside mesh, we have to create this policy. And if we see MeshTLS, yeah, now this policy created and it's permissive. So previously we would have to make permissive the entire mesh. And by that we could unintentionally expose existing services. But now since we enable permissive only for Redis, this means that applications that are already running in the mesh, they are still strict. They're using strict MTLS. So we created this policy. And the next step is to patch the deployment of Redis to basically set Kuma.io sidecar injection enabled. So if we patch that, we see that this Redis is restarted and now it has 2 containers, which means it's inside the mesh. And at the same time, the permissive policy that we just created will be applied for this Redis once it started in the mesh, which means that once it started, let's wait a second. Yeah, maybe I already can use it. Yeah, so it seems like, what's that? Do you know what's that?
No, first time see. It looks like something with this Redis container.
I tried this 2 times before this demo and it worked, so I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
but it looked like the Redis thing, not the Kuma DP, because you saw the container was Redis that was red.
yeah. Okay, so now it seems like it's restarted. It has 2 containers. If I do auto increment, it seems working. And now if we check the control plane, we now have 5 services because we had 4 previously and we migrated Redis on top of that. We can check, so this is our Redis. We can see, I think if I search for RBAC, yeah, I think this is roughly the place. It's inbound listener. And yeah, it has downstream TLS. So yeah, Redis is migrated and it now works. So the client is outside the mesh and client sends just plain text, but Redis is in permissive mode and it can accept both plain text and encrypted traffic. Yeah, so the next step in this guide, yeah, so it says migrate Redis to the mesh. It says check some stats, but we see that it works. Uh, yeah, and then it says migrate client to the mesh. Let's do this as well. So now the client should restart. Let me port forward the client. Port forward. No, still. Yeah, so client is working. Now it's supposed to be inside the mesh. Let's see. Default services. Now we have 6 services, and that's because this client is now inside the mesh. So technically for this Redis service, all its clients are inside the mesh now, which means we can either, let me show you. So now policy says permissive. We can either change this to strict, or we can simply remove MeshTLS because we already have a setting on the mesh. So yeah, I can just, maybe I can just do it here. MeshTLS. I remove MeshTLS. Now it should disappear from here. And it means that only this will be applied. So yeah, let's check one more time that traffic works. Yeah, traffic works. So that's how we progressively migrated the demo inside the mesh, and the traffic for applications that were already inside the mesh, it kept strict MTLS. So yeah, all these steps can be, you can check these steps on the website in the progressively rolling in strict MTLS. I think this is it for today. Thanks for joining. Have a good day.
Thanks. Have a nice day. Bye.
Bye.